Hi there, I'm Michael Giblin with Fiddlershop.com, and this is a tutorial for the second violin part for the Wexford Carol, our 2022 Christmas group project. I'm going to play it for you, and then we'll talk through some of the important things to keep in mind for preparing this. Let's go. Alright, well thank you for playing the second violin part. It's the hardest thing in the world to play second fiddle. And so, a couple things before we get started is try to have an earbud, or please have an earbud in an ear so that we don't hear the click track on the recording. We should only hear your instrument being recorded. It can be in either side, it doesn't really matter. Or headphones are fine, but it's just some way to isolate the click track. And please use the click track. Secondly, when we film, we're going to try to all film in landscape mode, or sideways mode, not portrait mode. So like this, so that we're all kind of the same, and it's kind of great for violin. So we want to try to see your instrument. Don't be like just nostrils. And don't be like way down here either. We want to see your face. We want to. It's great to, if you want to dress up. I know I didn't dress up much today. So that's kind of the basics. Oh, and before you play a note, make sure that you're tuned to 440. We're just good old 440. We're gonna all be tuned to that, hopefully, so it all lines up nicely. And it's okay to use open strings. There's a lot of opportunities where playing open string makes sense. So especially for that reason. Okay, so phrasing and dynamics are pretty important in this piece. It's a very long phrase. This first phrase really is like 4 measures. We go ba bum ba da dee da dee da da. It keeps going ba dee da 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 dee. And then the singers, if you were a singer singing this carol, you go ba dee da da da, and have another long phrase. So don't kind of fall into the trap of just playing da 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 dee da da. And I know it's tricky because that click track is just not very musical, but it's going to help us keep lined up. So how do you do that? A lot of times we want to think about growing through these quarter notes that are tied to eighth notes. So every time you have this, grow, keep growing, and that's that measure 3 is really the height of the phrase. then if you want to have you can have a little space here, a little breath for where, you know, the singers would take a breath. So that's, try to follow the dynamics that are printed. And so again, we want to grow, we want to use more bow, we want to use a little more pressure, a little closer to the bridge maybe. And then when we're decrescendoing, we want to use less bow, a little more over the fingerboard. Just let the bow just come to a rest. Okay, so that's what it is going to be a little tricky here. Is there's a lot of high twos and then low twos, specifically in measure 3. This is a tricky. That's high 2 on the F sharp, and then a low 2. So you're gonna have to really watch out that little phrase kind of happens a lot. And then moving forward, sort of the trickiest rhythmic section of this piece is going to be measures 9, 10, and 11. And so there we also have this accidental, we have a B flat, so that's a low 1. So I'll play from measure 9. Here that's a high 1. And now low 1. Da, da, da. Really stretch that out. D, da, 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 triplet. If this rhythm is tricky for you, I always recommend put your instrument down and just speak it, and either go ba da dee da ba dee da da ba dee da da dee da. So just really, if you need to be able to understand it here and be able to speak it or clap it if you want before picking up your instrument. So just don't neglect measures 9, 10, and 11. The last thing is we are going to do the repeat as the click track suggests, or we'll play for you. And then when you get to the end of the piece, we're just going to have a nice little decrescendo and we're going to fade out. But leave some space at the end of the recording so that we can all, in video editing, we can fade everybody out together nicely so that it doesn't just abruptly end. And it's okay also if you trail over the end just a little bit. If you're decrescendoing the last measure, it's okay if it's longer than 2 beats. Don't make it dramatically longer. 1, 2, you know, if it just sort of has a little extra stuff, because the click track is just gonna, we didn't want to put it on a retard and, you know, complicate rhythmic stuff at the end. So just, it's okay if it sort of trails over. All right, well, I think that's basically those are the basics that you need to keep in mind, and I hope it helps you have a successful recording. Thanks so much for doing this. Again, I believe it's December 5th is the deadline to submit and upload your video to Dropbox. There's more instructions on the Fiddlerman website. I've got a link for that below. So we look forward to seeing you. Thanks so much for taking part in our group project.